trade fairs and catwalk shows so that retailers worldwide can pick and choose what they will offer you next season. We get the orders in, and they go right into production so that they're in time at the stores nice and early to catch your eye. This is a year-long process for each collection, and we do it twice a year. This was a great business, as some of the old hands will tell you. But then the word got out, and a lot of people started doing this. Some were smarter and thought, let's just wait for these crazy, creative, capricious types to come up with their ideas, and we go and pick the trends, and off we go to copy. Well, maybe I shouldn't use the word copy. I'll use the word they use, the euphemistic word of be inspired by, and put it in the stores all at the same time, but at cheaper prices. Smarter. It was so smart that they made huge fortunes and opened stores worldwide, and competition got really fierce. Now we, these crazy, creative, capricious type, had to come up with a lot of stuff, not just twice a year, but now even up to 6 times a year. Of course, that meant that every collection had a shorter shelf life, and hence, it had to have a bigger margin. So this became a race. Who could get more creative, more crazy, and more capricious, and of course, cheaper product to the shops first? This led to a lot of waste. We had a lot of leftover stocks. But someone came up with a great solution to that problem too. Why don't we just sell all this stock to consumers at huge discounts all year round? Who could resist that? And they were right. We all love a bargain. And they did brisk business. At any given moment, you could pretty much buy the same design at many different prices. Many more of those all-year-round discount places opened up, and they made a whole bunch of other people a whole lot of money. So again, we had to produce cheaper still to be at the right price so that even at high discounts, there would be some margins left. Everyone was looking and talking about the price. But I ask, what about the costs? To survive this race, you had to get rid of what everyone is calling excess baggage. Outsourcing became the mantra. Local production was too expensive, so all the artisans lost jobs here. Even where labor was cheap, handcrafted processes had to be abandoned as machine work was cheaper and faster. So it led to a loss of skills of artisans there who were turned into factory workers as they were more productive. And for us, the crazy, creative, capricious types, things became tough as well. We had to come up with very creative, original designs in very short time frames, and they were produced very far away, and we had to do all of this in no time because the next collection was already due. God. We had turned this beautiful, random, creative process into something stressful, repetitive, and mundane. Soon enough, we had the same clothes selling everywhere in the world, of course. The end result is, yes, a few people got immensely wealthy, but most of us, we suffered. Yeah, we'll talk about the costs. For us, loss of dreaming time for us designers, and hence loss of creativity. For here, loss of skills for artisans and job options, and even for that we call loss of skills for these artisans in terrible work conditions in crowded factories. Of course, huge contamination problems caused by our industry around the planet. While we're trying to make things cheap, corners were being cut and we were looking the other way, as long as the price was cheaper. But the argument was, hey, the consumer had won. They had a cheaper product and a bigger choice. Wow. But hold on a minute. Who are these consumers? In our case, everyone who buys clothes, right? Including us, all of us, right? So are we really willing to pay that higher cost for all our seemingly varied and cheaper choice? It didn't make any sense to me at all. Like most of us, I was very frustrated. So what could I do? I remembered having read Mahatma Gandhi's words somewhere, be the change you want to see in the world. So I decided it was time to use my crazy, creative, capricious head and to think beyond next season's hemlines and think about big design. To design the change I wanted to see in our system. Could not all of us who were part of this change turn it on its head and make it work for us? So what if instead of complaining, we, the suffering ones, could get together, create, and give the consumer a product that would give that other crazy option a run for its money? That was an idea, at least an adventure worth pursuing. So we started planning a little revolution of our own. And since every revolution needs a flag, so did this one. And off we went to find it. And where did we go? All the way to Madras, India, for the authentic hand-woven Madras pattern. You're going to ask me, why Madras? Well, because everyone in the world is familiar with it. Because you can find it in nearly every wardrobe, no matter what your style is, preppy, grungy, rock and roll, avant-garde, or even if you're the I don't care what I wear type, you have a Madras check in your wardrobe. Go take a look. But most of the Madras you have does not come from Madras. And for the matter of fact, it is not woven by the handloom weavers who've woven these patterns for centuries. Madras has just been turned into a generic name used for this pattern that is now mostly machine-made and is millions and millions of meters made a year, and no one in Madras benefits from those royalties. So we traveled to the heartlands of Tamil Nadu in South India to find these real Madras weavers. And to our grateful surprise, we found that Tamil Nadu alone had over hundreds of thousands of handloom weavers still. A large network of these, about 200,000 of them, were organized as cooperative societies since 1935, where each weaver was a member, a partner. And they sold their fabrics through a state government trade cooperative called Coop Tex. The numbers that we were given by the Handloom Board of India of the production capabilities of the handlooms in India was mind-boggling. We didn't invent them. It was mind-boggling. This was exciting, as now we had as our partners one of the world's largest textile manufacturer, 100% sustainable, making an incredible variety of product, and using locally grown cotton. We couldn't have asked for more. But they were struggling because they were in competition with machine-made fabrics there in India, which were cheaper, and they could produce millions of meters of the same design, which for an artisan is an impossibility. To make the same thing over and over again is against his very nature. So here we thought, why don't we turn this seeming disadvantage into one of its main virtues? Were not people looking to be unique? Since each artisan was weaving his own unique pattern, we coded each one of these individual pieces of textiles with the weaver's name and the society, what number he came from. We interviewed them, we talked to them about their needs, we talked to them about their dreams for the future. We documented this incredible process in short films to share with everybody the beauty of their art. You know, each lungi has 20,400 threads. It's incredible what you'll learn when you ask. The entire family helps the weaver, and they work in their homes, and they're very proud to work for themselves. Their sense of aesthetic is sublime. I couldn't find a pattern that I didn't fall in love with. The mix of colors, the patterns, each one was more beautiful than the other. So here we had the first part of our puzzle. Then we traveled back home and we talked to the local artisans. These local artisans who had been frustrated losing work out to these very competitive factories where labor was so cheap. Their R&D advantage was getting thinner as it was easier and faster to copy all the time. So we proposed a collaboration with these very frustrated handloom weavers. What if we got a unique piece of textile with an authentic story, and they could turn that into a beautifully handcrafted piece of clothing one at a time? The look on their faces was, are you out of your mind? For a while, but immediately they were intrigued. Let me tell you, for an artisan, to be able to offer the consumer a completely unique, beautifully handcrafted product at a competitive price point is a dream. It wasn't simple, it wasn't easy, but I'm very stubborn. And they had to undo a lot of their mechanized systems that have been built over the last decades, where emphasis had been to reduce costs. Each unique piece of fabric was turned into a unique piece of clothing, and each one added their codes so that we didn't lose the thread of the story. This was so exciting, a truly global collaboration to make a better product and give a real option to the consumer, something unique and well-made. But there was still one part of the puzzle that wasn't in place. How would we get the word out there? We couldn't hire famous celebrities as our brand ambassador. We didn't have the budget for it. And nor did we want to raise prices to pay for it. We couldn't open hundreds of stores, as that overhead cost would have once again made the product out of reach and not a real option for majority of the consumers. And we wanted to sell a lot. Don't forget, we had a lot of hands waiting for work. So we thought, what if we proposed the consumers to collaborate with us? What if instead of Kate Moss, they became our brand ambassadors? Things were already moving in that direction, with a blogging community gaining ground over traditional media. People were already looking to discover and explore new things. They didn't just want to be told what was new, they wanted to participate, to find out for themselves. And now they had new tools for it. So why could we not use the same tools to engage them? As I say, necessity is the mother of invention. So that's where the trunk show host idea came from. In fashion, trunk show is a very known concept because fashion designers, when they have to showcase their collections, we take it to the road in a heavy suitcase or a trunk, and we go off to show it to our friends and friends of our friends. And our trunk show hosts do the same thing, but on the web. They are our online ambassadors. And since we're asking them to participate, it was only fair that we give them a share. So we built a whole new part to our website, the Trunk Show Host Network. Anyone could be a trunk show host. All they needed was a Facebook and a PayPal account. They could come to the site, they could choose the pieces from our inventory and share them on their social networks with their friends and followers. If anyone bought that piece, and I mean anyone, not just their friends, they would get 20% of the sale the first week, 15% the second, and 12.5% the third week. And if they weren't lucky, that piece would go back into general inventory for another trunk show host to try their luck. And then, of course, they could go back and fill their trunk show once again. All of this with no money. A trunk show host can do what they like with their share. They can give it to their friends as discounts. They can even share with the weaver who wove that piece because they knew who it is. And of course, they could keep it for themselves. By sharing, talking about the ideas that they liked, they could be helping others and themselves. Fashion has been a purveyor of, and this was a great way to start a dialogue together. A dialogue about celebrating uniqueness, about looking for authenticity, taking on responsibility, and helping prosper an idea that had helped other people as well. So we believe we have a new chain, a win-win for all. Everyone invests in this new chain, and everyone benefits from it. IOU acts like a catalyst in this prosperity chain. The weavers, the artisans, the designer, the trunk show host, and even the final consumer. This is a real community where we don't live in isolation, but we're aware of each other. Where things come from, where do they go to, how do we benefit from each other's work, and how do we add value to this system? And most importantly, how we can help each other. We invite you, the consumer, as well, to have an opportunity to become part of the story. Each item has a unique QR code that electronically links it to a specific artisan, craftsman, and that's created that particular piece. And if you want, you can take your picture and upload it so those people can see who you are. You can access a wealth of audiovisual material that we've collected that chronicles the process by which these pieces are produced. With an IOU piece, you can't just stop with the brand name or the shop you bought it at. It's full of stories of the many people who've been part of its journey, who work hard, and who are proud of what they do, and they're very happy that you're part of their story. This adventure has taken me to many places and has been truly enriching. I have met a lot of people during this journey, and I continue to meet a lot of people because there were so many people reaching out to us. And everyone has had a unique story to tell me. I've learned a lot from them, and I realize I still have a lot left to learn. The Madras is just a beginning. We're already working on collaborations with artisans in other parts of the world, and even brands who want to participate in this change. We're even developing other products that are not clothing. The most exciting part is that many trunk show hosts are taking this personally and working on creating fashion shows and physical events with their IOU pieces in their local communities. We hope that IOU is not just seen as a brand of clothing, but as a movement that it is. A new way of making things in collaboration. To make a better product, of course, but importantly, to make a better system, so that it's truly at the service of those that are in it, and that everyone who participates is enriched by the experience. We believe that business, when it's carried out with true transparency and authenticity, it can elicit extraordinary responses and foster this shared sense of responsibility from its customers, its partners, its suppliers, towards each other, and of course towards the environment. So, I hope that you will now not be able to stop yourself from asking that question every time you reach for your shirt the next morning. Because if you care enough to ask, change is on its way. Thank you.